Yesterday was another primary day in America. To discuss that and a few other political issues, really happy to be joined by Robin Biro, a Democrat strategist, former Obama campaign field director. Robin, thanks for taking some time. We had primaries in 4 or 5 states, I think, yesterday, including Georgia and Kentucky. From your Democrat perspective, what happened and what are some of your takeaways?
Sure. Let me talk first about Georgia, since that's where I live, and I'm political director for Metro Atlanta. So let me talk about that for a little bit. Stacey Abrams, of course, picked up the Democratic nomination for governor, which was really not a surprise. She was running against a more blue dog Dem, and Stacey painted herself more as a progressive Dem. And as you've seen, progressive Dems have been picking up wins across the country over the blue dog Dems that the DNC is running. But here in Georgia, I want to point out the raw numbers, because that's really, as a strategist, what I pay attention to. So as the night wore on, we were lagging about 100,000 votes. But at the end of the day, we were 54,000 votes shy of what the sheer numbers were for the Democrat votes, just the overall numbers for Democrat votes versus Republican votes. So that is concerning. A lot of Democrats are rejoicing today, but just looking at the raw numbers, I have concerns because we have a huge road ahead of us, and it's going to take a massive GOTV effort, and there's a long road ahead of us, Joe.
And Robin, here is, I've got a cut here of the Democrat candidate now for governor in Georgia, Stacey Abrams. Take a listen.
We are writing the next chapter of Georgia's future, where no one is unseen, no one is unheard, and no one is uninspired.
Hey, Robin, I'm a Republican. I'm a conservative Republican. She seems to me, though, to be a very attractive candidate. Tell me about her prospects in this general election in Georgia.
The prospects look good, but she's got huge obstacles in the rural areas, of course. You know, Georgia, if you look at it, Atlanta, of course, is bright blue. Savannah, Augusta, the main the four biggest, most populated areas, of course, are blue. But everywhere, if you just drive right outside the perimeter of Atlanta, you've got a serious challenge ahead of you. That's Trump country, solidly so. And she's got some, the other candidate, Stacey Evans, was trying to run a more moderate approach. She was trying to attract crossover voters. I don't think that was a winning tactic. I'll disclose here now that the primary is over that she was my choice. She resonated more with my democratic ideals. I guess people would call me more of a blue dog Dem, sort of a conservative Dem. So that was more my attractive candidate. But like I said, all across the country, it's the more progressive Dems that are winning. I will say the DNC is pushing these more blue dog Dems in southern states, but they are losing time and time and time again. People tell me to run all the time, and I know that it's just not going to work. It will not work. It has not worked. But her prospects look good. She's going to take some serious campaigning. I joked today that it's going to take, basically, to pull this off, it would take a visit from Obama himself, followed by Joe Biden, followed by Michelle, and you may laugh at this, but maybe even Oprah to pull this off, because she's got a huge challenge ahead of her.
Hey, Robin, pick up from the point you just made about these progressive candidates being more successful in the primary. It harkens back to when I ran in 2010, the Tea Party surge. And in those Republican primaries in 2010, Tea Party candidates like myself were much more successful in the primaries. That concerned the Republican Party establishment. But in November, these Tea Party candidates were successful. How are these progressive? Do you worry about these progressive candidates in the general election?
In the general election, to a point, I think we're seeing a change of the tide here. I'll just be completely honest here. People are still very angry at what happened with Bernie Sanders. They're still angry at the DNC for all of that. It does not look good. The DNC is going to have a hell of a time trying to recover from that, just as far as optics go, for quite some time. I know so many people who basically switched teams and they're now Trump supporters that were once Bernie supporters and could not. They just got sickened by the DNC. We've been having
wait, Robin, let me stop you there. That's fascinating. You know that you're aware of a number of Bernie supporters who have gone firmly into Trump's camp?
I do. It sounds almost unbelievable to a point, but they got so sickened by the system and the politics, and Trump's message of basically being the anti-politician, anti-establishment appealed to them. And I've got to be honest with you, I know quite a few that made the switch, and it doesn't, it blew my mind. But if you just break it down to a simple tactic of, basically voting for the political outsider, you can sort of make sense of it. But, like I said, the progressives are winning. As it concerns, I'll say this, it concerns me. I'm not really thrilled. I certainly wasn't a Bernie supporter. I didn't like the idea of the party going that left. Just as you were talking about California, I echo your sentiment. I think that California pretty much is out of touch with the rest of the country. And I think that basically as this goes on, I don't think this is sustainable to have so far to the left Democrats. But right now, the pendulum is swinging, and I recognize that just by looking at the special elections that have been going on, because the DNC has been pushing candidates that are more centrist, more blue dog, and they have lost everyone with the candidates that are winning the special elections time and time again have been the far more to the left progressives.
Well, Robin, but square your concerns, legitimate, with my concerns on my side as a conservative Republican. I've seen Democrat enthusiasm through the roof. I've been trying to warn my side about this Democrat enthusiasm ever since Trump was sworn in. Do you see that enthusiasm continuing?
I do, and I will say that I've seen, just as I said, we've had Bernie people switch over to the Trump team. I've had I'm still political director for the party, and we've had a number of people that have made the switch and are showing up to our local meetings every month that are disenfranchised for some reason or another with the Trump campaign, or with some of our local elections like the Georgia 6th, the John Ossoff versus Karen Handel election, for example. We picked up quite a number of people who are really hitting the streets and knocking on doors. It blew my mind, basically, that they could be lifetime Republicans and just on a dime switch and be so hardcore Democratic supporters. But it's happening. It's just, what concerns me is that I see the divide growing stronger. I think that's palpable. You might be feeling that too, because it's, instead of coming together something more centrist, it's almost on both sides getting so far divided in either direction. And I'm sure that you've seen on the Republican side, the candidates that just won were the ones that basically were really the beholden to Trump's message. So I'm not really sure where this country's headed right now, but the divide seems to be going stronger, greater, further along to me.
Hey, Robin, quick one. Blue wave, is it still coming?
The polls seem to indicate otherwise. There's a 91% chance of winning. But, you've got to look at them. I just looked at 6 polls, and 2 of them had a 1-point lead for Dems. 1 had only a 3-point lead. And the greatest lead that I've seen so far for Dems was 5 points from The Economist. So it's narrowing.
Hey, Robin, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, my friend. Thank you for joining us, Robin. I really do appreciate it. Hey, coming up, a court ruling in Virginia that you're probably not aware of at all.